Great. Hello, everyone. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome to our open house session on our mechanical and industrial engineering programs. My name is Emily DeRosa. I'm a recruiting specialist in the Graduate School of Engineering here at Northeastern. We're going to go through the presentation today and focus mainly on our mechanical and industrial engineering programs. I'm going to give a brief introduction and then I'm going to hand it over to Professor Özlem Ergan, who has joined us today. And we also have quite a few of our graduate student ambassadors who we'll hear from a little bit later on in the presentation. I'll also wrap it up with information on next steps, and we'll open up the floor to any questions that you might have. We do have our Q&A and chat features enabled, so please feel free to write your questions in the chat or Q&A function as we go through the presentation. You might see that your questions are answered through the duration of the slides, but we will address any unanswered questions at the end. We always like to start off with a reminder of our code of conduct for these webinars. We seek to provide a very supportive and encouraging environment in these webinars. We want to make sure that you leave here feeling like you have all of the information you need. With that being said, like I mentioned, we do have the chat functions enabled. So we just encourage you to please maintain a very respectful environment in that chat feature. We cannot answer questions today that pertain to your particular individual application, but we're going to provide many resources throughout the presentation where you can contact us directly. We can talk on a more one-on-one setting there. So general questions are more than welcome, and we can address your personal questions at a later time. So with that, I will go ahead and pass it over to Professor Özlem Ergan to begin the presentation. It looks like we just have a little overview of Northeastern as a whole here, and then we will dive into the program-specific content. Thank you again for joining today.
Thank you, Emily, and good day, everyone. So I am Özlem Ergun. I'm a professor in industrial and mechanical and industrial engineering. I am also the associate chair for graduate affairs in the department. So we are part of the College of Engineering at Northeastern. And just to give you a glimpse of what College of Engineering looks like in Northeastern, we are a fairly large city university, and our number of in the College of Engineering, our number of undergraduate versus graduate students is kind of divided evenly to be around 4,000 students each. And about 80% of the student body are the students who are in MS programs. And accordingly, we have about 300 full-time faculty, and we are a very research active university with a well-funded research program by many faculty on campus and in College of Engineering. Next, please. And so now I will start talking a little bit more specifically about our department, mechanical and industrial engineering. Yeah. So we are a highly ranked university, but not only as an overall and highly ranked college of engineering, but we're also very highly ranked in terms of our innovation, the co-op program, and kind of youth-inspired work and teaching we do on campus. Within the department, we have about 140, 150 PhD students and about 1,200 master students, and then we have about 3,000 undergraduate students. And again, if you look at our numbers, our co-op program is highly successful, and a lot of our students actually do at least one co-op as they go through our program. Yeah. Next, please. So this is how our department looks like. We have our department chair, Yingzi Lin, and then we have me as the associate chair for graduate studies. And then we have the division of labor for the rest of the department into chair and associate chair for undergraduate affairs, research affairs, and just operations. Next, please. So when we talk about the graduate affairs, as I said, I am the associate chair for graduate studies, but I do this work with the help of many other people, partially because we have more than 12 graduate programs that we run within the department. So first, I have several wonderful people who help me with administrative work. And what we do with them is, we coordinate recruiting and admissions. We also manage the teaching assistant and course assistant assignments. We work on graduate awards, program advising. We help with student needs such as, petition requests, processing, and the qualifying exams for PhD students. Next, please. And then, as I said, we do have a large list of programs and concentrations within the programs. So if we look at our programs, of course, we have master's and PhD programs, and also our master's programs. We have a few that kind of goes into the that could lead into PhD degrees, and then a few other master's degrees that do not have a PhD associated with them. Although, of course, you can go into one of these master's programs and apply to one of the other PhD programs. So in terms of the master's degrees only, we have a master's in operations research, data analytics engineering, energy systems, engineering management, robotics, advanced and intelligent manufacturing, and human factors. And then we have a mechanical engineering and an industrial engineering master's programs and the PhD programs. And in mechanical engineering, both the PhD and the master's programs are divided into concentrations, into general mechanical engineering, mechatronics, material science and engineering, mechanics and design, and thermofluids engineering. I'm sorry about this kind of formatting on the slide. I think it's just like opening it up with different computers made this. So we also have a product development MS degree. We have interdisciplinary degrees in the PhD program that we are part of. And so we do have quite a list of offerings for students who might be interested in different different facets of industrial engineering and mechanical engineering. Yes, next, please. So as I said, I run this graduate affairs programs in our department with the help of many people. So we do have at least one faculty member who is the coordinator or the advisor, or like kind of the manager of each of the concentrations or the programs. So if you have a specific question regarding to either a concentration in mechanical engineering or one of the other programs, the first point of contact usually ends up being the advisor for that concentration or the program, because they're the people who are experts in those subjects. Furthermore, as you're applying into our program, you will choose which program, or within mechanical engineering, which concentration, and your application actually goes to these advisors and they make the decisions. So they are really the people who are in charge of these programs, both in terms of coursework, programming, curriculum, but also in admissions and kind of management of the program day to day. And we in the main office help them to kind of stay under a unifying umbrella and kind of help with the general processes. Next, please. So if you're interested in what is the kind of the distribution of our students into different concentrations and programs, it's really for the traditional MS students, we have about 50% industrial engineering, 50% mechanical engineering. And within the mechanical engineering, as you can see, the largest concentrations are just a general mechanical engineering degree or the mechatronics. With the PhD students, we have about like a 40-60% divide between industrial and mechanical engineering. And then in our kind of that more applied or like terminal master programs, the two biggest programs are engineering management and data analytics engineering, followed by energy systems. Next, please. So PhD students, if you're interested in applying as a PhD student, you don't officially have a concentration, but you still, in your application form, you still indicate a concentration that you're interested in. And that helps us to kind of funnel your application to the right concentration lead. And that person, that faculty member, will help to kind of funnel your application into the right faculty members who are interested in that kind of research. So the right type of faculty will evaluate your your application. And then if you just, if you enter our program in the PhD level, your qualifying exams will also be determined by which concentration you're in. Next, please. And for MS students, you do, again, if you're applying into the mechanical engineering program, you do have concentrations, or otherwise you directly apply into any of our other programs. Again, when you choose a concentration within mechanical engineering, it actually guides or funnels your application into the advisor of that program, and that person usually is the one who makes the decision for admissions. We do, and what the concentrations and programs help is really they all come with unique graduation requirements, which means that your curriculum that you have to take to satisfy that degree or concentration is uniquely determined by that concentration or program. So that's the biggest difference. Like, not only that you have a different title on your transcript when you graduate from here, but also what you need to do when you're in that degree at Northeastern trying to get that degree is different given between different concentrations and programs. We are pretty flexible in terms of allowing students to change concentrations and programs within our department. Of course, if you wanted to change into another department, that would be the purview of the other department, but we are pretty flexible within our department. However, we only allow students to apply for a change in concentration or program after they finish their first semester and get a minimum GPA of 3.3. Next, please. In our Master of Science program, in all of our MIE Master of Science programs, we have 3 different ways that you can actually get your degree. So I'll start with the bottom one, which is the coursework option, which is the one that is taken by most of our students. This basically allows you to take a set of core courses and elective courses, and within the guidelines of your concentration or program, and you need to take 8 of these and to get to 32 semester hours of coursework. And if you do this and you have a GPA of 3.0, you get your degree. Usually this takes about 1.5 years without co-op, and as like, it depends like what you do in the summer, do you take classes and all of that. But I mean, usually most of our students will finish this in about 2 years with a co-op in between or along the way. And then we also have 2 other options where we allow students to get a taste of research and working with faculty members one-on-one. The first one, or the middle one, is the project option, which is kind of a light version of research, I would say, because what you do here is instead of taking one of your electives, you actually sign up to do research work with one of the faculty members for a semester. So you take 7 courses and then do 1 MS project over a semester with a faculty member, and guided by and advised by the faculty member, and you finish your degree with this project option. And then finally, if you look at the top, we do have an option where you can actually write a Master of Science thesis and graduate with a thesis. To do this, you will actually replace 2 of your electives with a thesis. And the way to do it would be you would do this over at least 2 semesters. So instead of taking, let's say, 2 electives over 2 different semesters, you actually sign up to do work, thesis research work with a faculty member. And under their guidance, you write a thesis, and at the end, you have to submit that written thesis to the library to be publicly available hereafter. And you also have to do an oral defense. So the thesis option is a pretty serious research experience that also includes presenting and writing. The project option is kind of just one semester, you get an experience, but you don't have to have that kind of a big deliverable at the end. Next, please. So we are a very big department. We're actually 3 departments put into one. We have the mechanical engineers, materials engineers, and industrial engineers. So this gives us an opportunity to cover a lot of ground in research and to do a lot of interdisciplinary work, even among ourselves. So here's an attempt to kind of classify the type of research we do into areas. It's very hard because we do a lot of things. But if you look at these boxes on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see that, we go all the way from kind of materials related fields like soft matters and kind of multi-phase structured matter to composites, to energy systems, to more kind of mechatronics and robotics and human machine systems, impact mechanics, and then more on the kind of the industrial engineering side, we do have a lot of faculty who work in healthcare systems and resilience, as well as like smart and sustainable manufacturing, as well as other traditional or industrial engineering areas such as optimization, logistics, supply chains, and so on. Next, please. And as I have mentioned in the beginning, our faculty is very research active and really, really well funded in terms of research. They do really use inspired and impactful research. So here's just some examples. It's just really a few examples from faculty members who are working with CDC to decide how to prescribe pain medication in the best possible way so that addictions are prevented, to another faculty member with a big large-scale national research award, which we call the Career Award, on looking at nanoscale radiative heat transfer, for really thinking about topics around energy conversion and cooling, to Professor Sagar Kamarti, who has been working in Industrial 4.0 and merging it with analytics and information systems. And then to Professor Casey Maas, who's been a nationally leading figure in looking at human trafficking and how to stop that using industrial engineering and operations research tools. Next, please. And, we can just continue on. We do have members in our faculty who are very senior leaders in mechanical engineering and energy systems, to a really large research group on cold spray, or additive manufacturing type of work, to Professor Safa Jamali, who is looking at really material design in very innovative and computational ways. Next, please. And then, so we all talked about the faculty, but we should talk about our students too. And our graduate students are actually, there are graduate student groups that have been very, very active on campus. Some of those that comes to mind are the INFORMS Northeastern Student Chapter, which INFORMS stands for Institute for Operations Research and Management Science. It's really related to all students who are in IE, OR, data, engineering management type of areas. It's actually, the slide is a little bit outdated because this student organization has been receiving the International Organization's Student Chapter Award for the last at least half a dozen years. So we are so active. They are so active and they do so many wonderful things on campus that we do get this award every year, basically. We also have a very active engineering management student organization. And the other one that's really, really makes an impact is the Energy Systems Society, in the sense that they again, they are a very active student organization. They actually just like at the end of this week, I think they are holding their annual energy systems conference at Northeastern. They do this annually every year. They bring in many different people from outside, and it creates a really nice venue to for our students to interact with people from leading figures from academia and industry that is concentrated on energy. Thank you. Next. So our students and alumni are, as I said, they're very active researchers. They go into different types of jobs. If you look at our PhD students, they do go to academic or research-oriented jobs or industry jobs in different parts of the world and the country. Next, please. And they do get to do some groundbreaking work. So here, like on the top, it's one of our industrial engineering students who has graduated a few years ago, really looking at this cutting edge network modeling of the brain with a lot of like that. This kind of research does get a lot of media attention. And then at the bottom, you can see Harsh actually introducing President Bill Clinton at the Clinton Global Initiative University meeting, that the 11th of it, that happened actually on Northeastern campus. Next, please. I'll pass it on, and I'll be here to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aslam. I would love to introduce some of our graduate student ambassadors within the MIE department that have joined us today. I'll go in the order of my screen that I see you all. And if you want to just give a brief introduction, talk about what program you're in and a little bit about your experience at Northeastern thus far, and being a graduate ambassador. Just as a just kind of background info, our graduate ambassadors are current students in our programs. We have one for at least each department, if not each program, and they are absolutely wonderful resources for you to reach out to. I'll share on the next slide a couple more ways in which you can contact our graduate ambassadors. Of course, you're going to have questions pertaining to your application that admissions is more than happy to help you with, but to get more of a deeper dive and idea on student life and culture and the day-to-day as a graduate student at Northeastern, these students are your number one contacts. We hire these students to work for admissions, and they are so excited and happy to share their experience with you. So I will start off. I see Susu first, and then Shri, and then Rakshi, if you just want to go through and talk a little bit about yourselves. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Susu, and I'm a data analytics engineering student at Vancouver campus. So currently, I'm a graduate student ambassador, and I'm also co-founder a fintech club Vancouver in Vancouver, and also have a startup. So I work as a fundraising manager. So I organize a lot of events and attend a lot of events, and that's really fun. And if you have any questions, please contact our ambassador email. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Likhita Anuganti. I'm a current master's student in data analytics engineering as well. At Northeastern, I think there are a lot of opportunities. I co-founded a startup here at Northeastern University, and I'm also the graduate ambassador for DAE program. And currently, I'm also researching on a community here called as Roxbury. So the courses pretty much cover research to industry to anything, I'd say. And yeah, I'd love to answer any of your questions. Please email us to our email. Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Rakshat. I'm the ambassador for engineering management. So it's been 1.5 years since I'm doing engineering management, and I just finished my co-op in the last spring. Engineering management does have a lot of opportunities because we have a plethora of electives that we can choose from, and that gives you an opportunity to look into different domains, because engineering management would deal with domains of industry and technology industry. So in that case, just feel free to drop an email to me, or you could just use the email address that we will be sharing across at the end of the presentation, and you can just reach out to us and I'll be able to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our 3 ambassadors who joined us today. As I mentioned, this slide right here is a wonderful one to go ahead and take a screenshot of, or go ahead and scan this QR code. Our ambassadors mentioned you can reach out to them via email. There's also social media accounts that they manage that hold a lot of updates and information. There's many, many ways to contact our ambassadors. And as I said earlier, they are such wonderful resources. They are living these programs day to day and are more than happy to help you navigate moving to a new city, starting a graduate program, and just answering any questions that you might have. So moving back to a little more housekeeping on the admissions side of things for our prospective students that have joined us today, we want to make sure that we provide our deadlines that are upcoming for spring and fall intakes for our programs. So as a reminder, if you've not yet submitted an application, our deadline for all international students applying outside the US is coming up very soon on October 1st. And then our deadline for domestic students for that spring 2025 entry is a little bit later on, December 1st. For fall 2025, that application is also live. We're accepting applications. For anyone interested in applying to a PhD program, your deadline is going to be coming up on December 1st. And then January 15th is our MS priority deadline. So we really encourage applicants, if you're sure on what you want to apply to go ahead and get that application in on January 15th or as close as possible to there. Overall for the fall cycle, June 1st is going to be the deadline for international students outside of the US, August 1st for domestic students for US and Canada, and then July 1st for international students inside the US and Canada. And just an overview of what we're looking for as far as the application requirements. As a thank you for joining us today, we do have a fee waiver code available that's highlighted in yellow here. That is Apply COE 2025. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this fee waiver code on the next slide, just because there are some stipulations to using the code. It's a little bit finicky. So just be sure to stay tuned so I can give you a little bit more information on exactly how to enter in that fee waiver code. Otherwise, requirements are pretty standard. We do require 2 letters of recommendation. We do encourage academic references where possible and available, but we also will accept professional references there. At the time of application, it's important to submit your unofficial transcripts. Even if you are currently enrolled in a program that's in progress, that you would finish by the time you would start your next program here at Northeastern, submit those unofficial transcripts, even if they're still in progress. We'll follow up a bit later on to collect your official transcripts as well as completed transcripts. Statement of purpose, again, pretty standard there. We ask for no more than 2 pages. Our faculty members review a high volume of application. And while the personal statement's very important to getting to know a little bit about you, we don't want to have it run on too long there. And then a resume is required to submit your application as well. I know I briefly saw one question about this in the Q&A. We'll get to addressing those questions very shortly. But currently, we are not requiring the GRE for admission. You're more than welcome to submit scores if you have them and you think that they would benefit your application, but the GRE is not required at this time. And then for those who did not complete your degree in English or are not on the list of approved countries to complete your degree prior to entering, we do require an English proficiency requirement. And we accept 3 different tests for that: the IELTS, TOEFL, and Duolingo. So as promised, here is a little bit more information about that fee waiver code. Again, that's Apply COE 2025. The fee waiver code is case and spelling sensitive. So please, when you're entering it, enter it exactly as you see here. Another great slide to take a picture of, take a screenshot of. When you're inputting the code, it's going to be in the application information tab that is prior to hitting submit on your application. So unfortunately, if you have already officially submitted an application, we cannot retroactively input this fee waiver code. It's only for new applications. Once you're in that tab, you'll scroll down to the yes, no questions and answer yes to the question if you have a fee waiver code. Once the box appears, please input the code, again, exactly as you see it here, and that will be able to waive the application fee for you. And last but not least, just more ways to keep in touch, both with us here in the admissions office. We are more than happy to connect you to faculty if your question is more geared towards them. Again, more information on our student ambassadors and how to contact them. They have a brand new email address here where they can get back to your questions. And a couple important links. We have a really extensive FAQ page on our website. We hope that many of your questions were answered here today or that we'll continue to answer. But if you think of anything after the fact, that FAQ page is a great place to visit. I'll link to our application, of course, if you're ready to get that started, and then the general link to our website as well. So I want to thank everyone again for joining us today. I do see that we have a couple questions that are available here in the Q&A, so I'm happy to go ahead and read those aloud, and then either Professor Ergun or our students can jump in and answer. I'll just take the first one off the top. I kind of started to answer this during the admissions requirements. We don't have a hard cutoff for GPA. We do encourage a 3.0 or above. That's typically what we're looking for. The English proficiency is required, again, if you obtained your degree in a country that's not on the list of waived countries. And the spring 2025 application is live, and you can begin that application as soon as you'd like. Next question here, information about faculty members who are researching about materials and willing to recruit some PhD students. One thing I'll just start off the bat and then pass it over to Professor Ergun is just to mention that it is not 100% a requirement to connect with faculty prior to applying to a PhD program. However, if you do have a really specific area of interest, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and reach out to a faculty member who's researching in that area to see if they are recruiting students. But I'll go ahead and pass that along for any additional information.
Thank you, Emily. So the PhD admissions is really, really driven by the faculty who are within the concentrations. And as Emily said, like if you have a very specific interest area, I would recommend to reach out to the faculty. You might not always hear back from them because we also do get a lot of these emails, but it won't hurt, as Emily said. So what happens within the PhD application process, the student applicants actually put in their applications and with the concentration and interest areas, and potentially even with faculty names kind of mentioned in your application to kind of indicate your interest. And then the faculty, depending on if there is space in their labs and in their research groups that semester or that year, will go in and look at the applicant pool who has submitted the application in their concentration or in their program. And once these these faculty members go through these applications, everyone kind of has a different style of their own. So for example, they might like call up a few applicants and do phone or Zoom interviews and then make a decision. Once the faculty member makes a decision, the process just kind of kicks in and you will get an admission. So there in the PhD programs, we do not have kind of overall or standardized admissions dates. It really is driven by faculty interest and faculty funding. So in terms of like, when will I hear back from for this, for a PhD application, it is hard to, like, we just really cannot, we don't have a deadline, because like for me, I can have a grant that I can learn that I'm getting a new grant for doing some kind of research over this week, and after that, I'll start looking for a student. So it's really grant driven, and this can happen to the faculty member throughout the year. So it's really, I would say my advice to you would be to put in your best application possible, send it to the right program or right concentration, mention the names of the faculty members that you would be interested in working with, so that your application kind of gets a fair view if those faculty members are actually interested in hiring someone that year or that semester. It's really not a centralized process. So I, for myself, will not know which faculty members are looking for semesters looking for PhD students this semester. Even the concentration leads will probably not know who is looking for how many students, how many new students in a year or in a semester. So you just have to send in your application, and then you're welcome to look into, you're encouraged to look into our websites, our papers, and when you find people who are really, really interesting in terms of what you want to do in a PhD study, feel free to contact them or like really write about them in your application statements. So in terms of the material, there was a question about the materials faculty. My advice to you would be to like really use our website to see the materials faculty research, or like the faculty who's doing research in material science. And if you want to get further information about the materials concentration, I suggest you contact the advisor for that program, whom you can also find online. His name is Professor Young Jun. And I would go from there. So there's another question about the PhD admissions in terms of, do all admitted PhD students get a TA-ship? We do have a 5-year funding guarantee. So if you are getting an admissions, you are kind of getting promised by Northeastern that you'll be supported either by a research or a teaching assistantship throughout your PhD studies, provided that you do good progress. And that's also why it's, we don't take hundreds of PhD students each year. It's really funding based because we do have that promise. Yeah, so I think the top question is also, I do not know how long it will take for you to get to know the decision. It is your application is probably within the system and being considered by faculty members. But again, if you want to know a bit more about your particular application, you should really contact the program advisor in the concentration that you applied to and just ask about it.
Yes, that's a great question. And also I noticed there it said the letters of recommendation will be sent within the next week. So we won't be able to start the review process until the application is fully completed there. So once those letter of recommendations are in and your application is marked as complete, the review process will begin. And then you can expect to receive your decision in the coming weeks after that.
Yeah, and the next question is also in terms of PhD applications. So the question is, can you apply directly into a PhD program right out of your bachelor's degree? And yes, absolutely. We do have 2 entry ways into our PhD program. One is called the direct entry. It's exactly what you're asking, coming out of a BS program. And the requirements for completing your PhD degree for a direct entry is different than if you're coming in with an MS program, with an MS degree in your bag, but you can apply. So you can apply either as a direct entry PhD or an advanced entry PhD if you have an MS degree. Do you want to take the next one, Emily?
Yes, definitely. Is there any benefit to submitting your application before the MS priority deadline? I would say submitting as soon as you're ready, as soon as you have a complete application, go ahead, get that submitted for your own peace of mind. That way you don't have to worry about running up close to that deadline. But one thing I will say is that we begin the review process of all applications after the priority deadline. So say, for instance, for fall 25, the priority deadline is on January 15th. Even if you submit in November, we will begin the review process of your application after January 15th. But like I said, peace of mind, if you're ready to submit it, you have all those materials, I would encourage you to go ahead and do so. It's one more thing off your list. Next question here. Are any of the ambassadors present from materials or general mechanical engineering concentration? Even if not, I'll have our ambassadors go ahead and maybe just type in that ambassador email again right here in the Q&A so that you can send an email, or I encourage you to take a look at the website where we list all of our student ambassadors, even the ones who were not available to join us today. And that's a great way to get in touch and learn more about those programs. Let's see. I will go back briefly to the application fee waiver slide, just so everybody has that. Again, I can't emphasize enough that it is spelling and case sensitive, so please enter it exactly as you see it here on this screen. Again, some questions here just pertaining to when exactly you're going to get the offer letter. We cannot provide you with an exact date or timeline, but once your application is fully complete, just know that faculty is reviewing those applications. It will take some time, but just go back to your Slate profile, ensure that you've submitted all the necessary materials that you need, and you will definitely be receiving more information and a decision in the coming weeks, but we can't provide an exact timeline.
You want to also answer this programmatic application?
Yeah,
Question.
definitely. So when you go ahead and begin the application process, you will, submit as many applications as you're interested in. Any application in addition to the first application you submit is considered a programmatic application. It's not any different from any other application. Of course, you're going to have a primary application, which is the first one you submit, and then anything additional in any additional programs you apply to after your primary application is considered a secondary or programmatic application. So you could do that all under the same hub. You don't have to create multiple usernames or logins. You'll have one username and login for Slate, and then you can submit multiple applications through there.
Yeah, and then maybe I can take on some of these questions around the PhD funding and the TA-ship. So the PhD funding gives you a monthly stipend and covers your tuition. I don't know the stipend amount from on the top of my head. It's kind of standard for every PhD program around the country. So that's kind of standard, and you will be getting that either through doing a TA-ship or a research assistantship. In terms of the getting the TA-ship, so just let me try to give you a bit of a more general answer. If you come into the program as a master's student and you're trying to get an opportunity to be a course assistant or a teaching assistant, what you do is we do have opportunities, but we also do have a lot of students who want to do it. So there's an application process every semester, including the summer. We open up an application process from for all the students, MS students who want to apply for a course assistantship. And then we have the faculty, and then we have a few people in our office who actually go through these applications and do as many assignments as they can. In general, we do hire around 100 course assistants every semester. I mean, in the spring and the fall, not that much in the summer. But I mean, also the number of hours that we can give to different students are different. Not everyone gets like a 20-hour assistantship. But that's how it works. It is a competitive process, though, I must say. So really the best way to get a assistantship job is to take the class that you want to, assist with and do really well in it, so that the faculty member would actually want you to be their TA for the next semester.
Thank you so much. We are just about at our time for today's session. So I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who took the time to join in today. Thank you so much to Professor Özlem Ergan for diving in and covering all things mechanical and industrial engineering. Thank you so, so much to our student ambassadors who were able to join us today, to Susu, Shri, and Rakshit. And any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us in admissions. We're more than happy to send your questions along to the correct people to answer them. And we look forward to hearing from you and receiving your applications in the near future. So thank
Emily,
you
there's a
all.
question if there is a recording. Is
Yes,
there a
so this
recording?
session is being recorded, and we will send out an email to everyone who attended these sessions, and it will also be posted on our YouTube page, which is available on our website. Not only this session, but all of the open house sessions that were hosted yesterday and today will be posted there to our YouTube page. I definitely encourage you to check those out.
Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.